Hey, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and if you play bass, there's no sensation like playing in front of your open amplifier and having that sound just envelop you. However, there are lots of situations where you just can't do that. If you're a touring musician, you're on the bus, if you're backstage and you're playing and you want to warm up, you want to hear yourself, or even if you're at home and you live in a place like an apartment or close to other houses where it bothers the neighbors, and let's say it's late at night, you don't want to keep everybody awake, having something that you can hear yourself with is absolutely essential. And for that reason, we're going to take a look at the Fender Mustang Micro Plus personal bass amp. And the beauty of this is it's got a ton of features in a very compact package, and we're very excited to take a look at it. It is made for guitar and bass, so I'm also going to see how much of this works really well for bass players. Let's take a closer look and see what I've got in the box. Okay, before we look and find out what's inside of this cool little box, I want to talk a little bit about my sound chain so you know how I'm evaluating this. To start out with, I'm using a set of PreSonus headphones, in particular the HD7s, and these have a 2x32 ohm output, so it should give me a really nice sound and I should be very comfortable listening through them. Next, I'm going to be playing my Journey Instruments Travel Bass. You probably saw my review on that. The reason I wanted to use this bass is because it has a very basic, clean sound, and it would be the kind of thing that I would be using if I were on the road or practicing in my hotel room or something like that. And then lastly, we've got the Mustang Micro Plus guitar headphone amp and what's inside the box. So let's take a look at that. This little device has 25 amps and 25 effects on board. In addition to that, it has 100 editable preset slots with Fender Tone app support. It also has an integrated tuner and display. It comes with a built-in Bluetooth audio streaming, and that way you can jam with your favorite songs or videos. It is also compatible both with iOS and Android. Also in the box, as a bonus, you've got a free 6 months of Studio One, and this is a very powerful music creation ecosystem. It is a professional level software, and it has exclusive content. It has the adjustable global EQ. It has a built-in rechargeable lithium-ion battery that you charge using your USB, and it will give you 4 hours of continuous play. The instrument plug itself, they came up with a very clever design where it's a rotating instrument plug. That way, it is compatible with most guitars and basses. As you know, sometimes the input is out on the front of the instrument, sometimes it's more towards that bottom corner. This way, no matter where it is, you can see the Mustang Micro Plus. It also has the possibility of bidirectional USB recording. So lots of great things in a small package. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the sound chain. I had to wait for a time of day so you can see the screen more or less. Again, it's a little dark, but this is the best way to see this. Also, I want to remind you what I've done is I've got a 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, so the signal you're hearing is coming out of the Mustang Micro Plus, and it's pretty close to what you would hear in the headphones, although it goes into, even though this is a stereo 1/8 to 1/4 inch, I don't know that it's going to give you more than mono into the amp. But if you have this on headphones, you really do hear it in a lovely stereo fashion. So let's go to the list here. You can see, or you may be able to see, as we start out, there's all of these presets, and when you get to 75, it shows them empty, and those are the ones you can load in. Now, one of my favorites for a clean sound is Studio Pre. So if we have it show us here, you can see the amp and a pedal. With that, when you're using it this way with your iPad or something, you can adjust, let's say, the bass a little bit. You work the controls on this, so you can modify this, but they all come preset. And the other thing I can do here is this reverb. Let's say I want to increase the level of that. Okay, so let's go back. And there are a ton of sounds here. Any of them will work with bass, but some of them are a little more conducive than others on, you know, how this is going to sound. So that's BI funk. You go, well, that's not too different, but let's pick something Bassman beef. Now this starts to give you a little bit of an overdrive sound. And you look, it's going into a green box, into the amp, you've got your controls, and small room reverb. So I think you're getting the idea. Let's check out a few other random ones like Dirty Flanger. Let's try Pigs Can Fly. Sounds interesting. Let's see what that does. And you can see you've got like the whole pedal board array. So you've got a big fuzz, chorus, British Watts, mono delay, large hall reverb, and a little kind of that. The very first one, no, it's a stadium lead. Now, again, lead guitar, you think, okay, that's gonna be really good for a guitar, and none of these sounded bad with bass, but and as you can tell, let's go a little metal here. There is just a ton of sound. Sky's kind of the limit on all the possibilities, and I haven't even gotten into modifying EQ or any of that. I think I'm running it on a bass boost, but this really gives you an idea just how many possibilities. Hey Jimmy. There you go. Okay, so first I want to comment a little bit on the sound chain that I used. Going with a 1/8 to 1/4 inch stereo cable, probably into the mono input of my amp. It may not give you as true of a sound as you'll get with the headphones, but I thought it was a really good representation. I had my settings on my amp using my DNA, and I have it pretty much set straight up. So we weren't getting any effects from the amplifier itself, just getting that clean signal, and you were able to hear a lot of the different sounds. I barely scratched the surface with those 75 presets and 25 open slots. I could load more of my own. And when I looked online, especially trying to see if there's any other bass samples, I didn't find any. There's lots of guitar playing people using the Fender Mustang Micro Plus. Lots of guitar sounds, but not really any bass ones that I could find. So I wanted to be able to bring you a little bit of what I was hearing so that you'd have a better idea, because I think a lot of times us bass players might overlook something like this, thinking, that's just for the guitar players with all their fancy sounds and pedal stuff. But the bass sounded really good on almost every preset that I tried. Granted, it wouldn't work with every kind of music, but it's really kind of fun to play with. And if I'm sitting around just in my room somewhere noodling, I could maybe come up with some bright ideas of something that might work for some tunes that I'm working on. So it has, I think, a lot of applications. Its compact nature, the long battery time, again, with just headphones, this plugged in, and this was my Journey bass, which is a passive 4-string. It's a travel instrument, so this would be the perfect example of how this could sound in your hands if you're on the road or just don't want to be heard by the rest of your family. So if you think this is right for you, the best thing to do is go to www.fender.com, find more information, and of course, if you Google Fender Mustang Micro Plus, you'll be able to find it. I'm sure it's accessible on Amazon. You could have one in your hands probably as soon as this week. So, very exciting, fun to play with. You might want to check one of these out for yourself. This has been Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, bringing you the latest in the world of bass.